As the global political stage gets more volatile, the stakes for national security, democracy, and leadership integrity have never been higher. Yet, recent developments in the U.S. have left allies baffled, adversaries emboldened, and many Americans both frustrated and alarmed. Former President Donald Trump, widely expected to run again in the upcoming election, has started hinting at the members of his hypothetical cabinet, and his choices have raised more than just eyebrows. In his typical unconventional style, Trump has suggested people with little relevant experience, a history of controversial statements, and in some cases, outright bizarre personal habits. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin are reportedly reveling in the chaos, pleased to see America teetering on the brink of political and diplomatic disarray. But is this reckless? Or is it strategic? Could Trump's actions be a carefully calculated move that he believes will garner him more support? Or has he truly fallen into the trap Putin laid out? In this video, we'll break down Trump's choices, examine their backgrounds, explore how this affects the international stage, and question if the U.S. is indeed becoming the laughingstock Trump once warned us against. Buckle up, because America's credibility is at risk, and Trump's cabinet picks might be sealing that fate. 1. Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. Let's start with one of the most important roles in any administration, the Secretary of Defense. Trump's choice, Pete Hegseth, is a Fox News weekend host and former military officer known more for his media antics than any substantial policy experience. While Hegseth has served in the military, his most famous statements include proudly claiming that he hasn't washed his hands in over a decade. Yes, you read that correctly. Hegseth once stated on air, "I don't think I've washed my hands for 10 years. Germs are not a real thing. I can't see them. Therefore, they're not real." This peculiar stance might be laughable in isolation, but it becomes unsettling when considering he would be responsible for the country's defense. Inexperience is one thing, but Hegseth's public persona raises serious questions about his suitability for a role of this magnitude. Can someone who dismisses basic hygiene and whose main qualification seems to be his loyalty to Trump really be entrusted with nuclear codes? The international community, already skeptical of Trump's judgment, sees this as yet another reason to worry. The world is indeed laughing, not out of amusement, but out of disbelief. 2. Homeland Security Director, Kristi Noem. Trump's next pick is Kristi Noem, the governor of South Dakota. Noem has made headlines for her staunch conservative policies, but her personal controversies have overshadowed her political achievements. In a strange incident, she reportedly killed her dog, Cricket, under circumstances that remain unclear. Rumors also swirl around her alleged trip to North Korea, which she later denied. But why would Trump appoint someone with such a checkered record to lead the Department of Homeland Security? Noem's appointment speaks volumes about the approach Trump is taking to build his dream team: loyalty over experience, spectacle over substance. The Department of Homeland Security is tasked with safeguarding America from domestic threats, yet Noem's lack of relevant experience and questionable decision-making raise serious concerns. Is this the kind of judgment we want in charge of national security? 3. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. A surprising addition to Trump's roster is Marco Rubio, the very same senator he mercilessly mocked during his 2016 campaign, calling him a lightweight and a choker. Trump even went as far as to say Rubio couldn't handle running one of his smaller companies. But now, he's willing to hand him one of the most influential positions in government. The Secretary of State is the chief diplomat, responsible for maintaining relationships with foreign governments. Rubio, who is famously hawkish, would likely take a hardline stance on issues such as China and Iran. However, his lack of major diplomatic experience raises questions about his capability to engage in nuanced negotiations. While Trump may see Rubio's appointment as a way to bring in a familiar face, it comes off as a contradiction and risks undermining America's global reputation. 4. The DOGE Department, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. In perhaps the strangest twist of all, Trump has proposed creating a new cabinet-level department, the Department of Government Efficiency, or as he's dubbed it, the Doge Department. Appointing Elon Musk and entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy to lead this department, Trump claims they'll revolutionize government bureaucracy. Musk, known for his tech ventures and controversial Twitter presence, is no stranger to unconventional ideas, but a cabinet position dedicated to government efficiency under the guise of Doge borders on the absurd. Ramaswamy, a biotech entrepreneur and political newcomer, would be tasked with overseeing federal agencies and reducing red tape. This idea, more meme than policy, symbolizes the farcical direction Trump's proposed administration could take. If the government is turned into a caricature, what hope is left for serious governance? 5. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. Trump's choice for the ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, adds a new level of controversy to his administration's stance on Middle Eastern affairs. Huckabee, a staunch Christian Zionist, believes in annexing the West Bank and sees no need for Palestinian self-determination. He refers to the West Bank as Judea and Samaria, completely disregarding established diplomatic norms. Appointing Huckabee signals that a Trump administration would abandon any semblance of balance in Israel-Palestine relations, pushing instead for an agenda that even Israeli officials might find destabilizing. Huckabee's hardline views may endear him to certain factions, but are likely to alienate international allies and spark unrest in the region. With escalating tensions, America's already strained reputation in the Middle East would face further jeopardy. 6. The international impact. Putin's trap. Vladimir Putin's strategy of undermining Western unity relies on the destabilization of U.S. leadership, and Trump's proposed cabinet only furthers this goal. Putin has long understood that a fractured America, led by controversial figures with little expertise, weakens NATO and compromises international cooperation. Reports indicate that Russian media has seized this moment to mock Trump, even displaying compromising images of Trump's wife, Melania, to underscore Putin's influence. The Russian president has also reportedly dismissed Trump's claims of a diplomatic phone call, calling it pure fiction. This public rebuff not only embarrasses Trump but signals to the world that he lacks control over his relationship with Putin. If Trump's appointments are any indication, his administration could play directly into Russian hands, jeopardizing both national security and international stability. 7. Domestic response and the media's role. The American public, particularly the conservative base, may see these picks as a refreshing challenge to the swamp Trump once promised to drain. But this is no longer about shaking up Washington. It's about the ability to govern effectively. Instead of highlighting these troubling choices, some media outlets focus on trivial details, like Elon Musk's dark MAGA-themed outfit, while the real issues go unaddressed. In appointing such unconventional figures to key positions, Trump risks undermining the very institutions that make America a global leader. Each pick, from Pete Hegseth to the Doge Department, signals a shift away from traditional governance towards a chaotic and meme-driven administration. The consequences of these choices could be disastrous, potentially eroding trust in the U.S. government domestically and abroad. In an age where geopolitical tensions are on the rise, the world needs stability, not spectacle. Trump's cabinet, a bizarre amalgamation of media personalities, controversial politicians, and untested entrepreneurs, might play well in certain circles, but the rest of the world, particularly adversaries like Putin, sees it as a win. The question Americans must ask is, can this country afford to gamble its reputation, security, and future on such reckless choices? As we watch this play out, one thing is clear. Trump's proposed administration might end up being the greatest gift Putin could have ever hoped for. America, once the leader of the free world, risks becoming its greatest cautionary tale.